Okay. Okay. It says that we're live. Let me know if you can see this and hear me and all of the things. I'm going to check on Facebook. Okay. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Oh, that doesn't look very good. How do I go into full screen mode? I would like this to be bigger for you so that you can see it. Stop sharing. Hold on just a second. Maybe like this is better. Can you see that better? Oh, but now you can really see my presenter view. Okay, hold on just a second. I'm sorry, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. This is the first time I've ever done something like this where I've actually have had to share my screen with this. So I appreciate you guys being patient with me. Let me know how that looks. Okay, we're going to see how this goes. There's a little bit of a delay. Okay, that looks better. Okay, perfect. Okay, that looks so much better. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit odd for me because I don't have two monitors. Again, this is the first time I'm doing something like this, so I appreciate your patience with me. This is not one of those things where you like, I guess anyway, but this is one of these things that you kind of have to throw yourself into the wolves and see kind of what happens. So I appreciate you bearing with me. If you're on, let me know that you're on. Say hello. I don't know how to turn myself down. Let me silent myself. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Perfect. So if you're on, let me know that you're on. Say hello. If you're watching the replay, use hashtag replay. So what we're doing here today is we are doing our first official live training. Every month we are going to do live trainings very similar to this, where you get like a slide deck and a workbook and a huge presentation, a masterclass. And if you have done any of my lives or any of my challenges, you know that I'm going to give you so much value. This is not just a sales pitch. Am I going to sell something to you at the end? Yes, of course I'm going to, but I promise you, you're going to get something out of this. This is not just to give you baby bits of information that you didn't already know, because I hate when that happens. And I feel like your time and energy is just as valuable as money. And I feel like we should start treating it as such, right? If we believe that that time is one of the most sacred assets that we have available, and then we're not getting anything in return for using our time and our energy for these things, then it's like, well, maybe it's not as valuable as money. So I want to share that value because I feel like it's important and I'm into that. So again, if you're on, let me know that you're on. Say hello in the comments. Let me know where you are streaming in from, I guess is the checking in from. Again, feel free to leave your comments as you're watching the replay. This is also going to be uploaded into YouTube and sent out to everybody as long as I have time. We are going into Aubrey's graduation pretty much as soon as this is done. So today we are going to talk about 7 steps to slay doubt, to show up bigger, badder, and bolder online. This is to skyrocket your authenticity and confidence to attract soulmate clients. Because let's face it, if you're dealing with doubt, you're not showing up as authentically and with confidence as you would like. So let's get into this. Okay, so just a quick reminder for this masterclass, this presentation is going to last roughly around 60 minutes. If you registered, the replay will be available to you so that you can rewatch and watch, but this is also going to go up to YouTube because this is part of 25 Days to Slay in May. If you have any questions, please drop them. Even if you are watching the replay, please drop your questions. I will be traveling for 12 hours in the car. I will be able to get to your questions all day, I promise. So this is permissions and expectations. I want you to be ready to learn. The masterclass will take 60 minutes. The replay will be available. Please close your tabs. Please put your phone on silent. This is a sacred container, and I ask you to please respect the energy of that as I have put just as much energy into this. Be ready and open. Be willing to come into awareness of what's been holding you back. I know that that's like the hardest thing to come into sometimes. Be willing to make shifts and do the work and be open to changes. And then, of course, I would like to have your permission to give you an opportunity to see what my Slay program is all about. So if you are with me on that, just give me a yes. Let me know that you're here and that you're okay with what's about to happen within this presentation. Just give me a yes. I hope that that is okay. And I'll give this just 1 second. Okay, let's go ahead and go into this. So you're in the right place. If you're over being held back, if you're ready, open, and willing to do the work, if you're committed to yourself and your business, this is not for you. If you like being stuck, if you think that you don't need help and you're constantly learning and never applying. Implementation is one of the most important things for you to do. And I know that it is so easy for us to get stuck in absorbing all the information and cognitively understanding why we do certain things, but then never applying it. And that's not what we're doing here today. That's why the workbook is so important for you to have. So let's go in here. All right. So in case you're new to me, I'm Angela. I started diving into personal development about 10 years ago. And then 3 years into that journey, I unexpectedly got pregnant with Aubrey. And that really triggered me into start healing from childhood sexual abuse and physical abuse and just all of the abuse. And then once I did that, once I started working on my trauma during that time, I was pregnant, and I worked with a spiritual shaman, a timeline therapist, and a therapist. And then later I worked with a mindset coach to really give me that extra and then a spiritual mentor to help me practice my gifts with energy healing. I have certifications in trauma-informed for coaching, hypnotherapy, NLP, timeline therapy, and life coaching. I've owned 3 businesses. This is my 3rd one. In 2022, I started helping women heal trauma. And since that point, I've helped so many women change their lives and step into worthiness and success and loving who they are. Today, I not only help women with trauma, but I also help them slay self-sabotage so that they can impact the world. So let me know that you're with me. Say that you're with me. Again, say these things even if you're watching the replay. And if you just joined me, we are doing the live training for 7 steps to slay doubt. All right, today's agenda, we're going to dive into safety, self-awareness, body connection, holding space, identify your doubt, leaning into the doubt and integrating the doubt, and then of course an invitation to my 12-week program. And I hope that you stay tuned until the end. This is going to be so valuable, and I'm so excited to get started. So are you ready to get started? Okay, let me know in the comments if this resonates, okay? When you go to post, you remember that there are dishes magically in the sink. You somehow remember everything around the house that needs to be done, and then you go and do it, and your inspiration is completely gone. The voices in your head are so loud and annoying that it totally takes over your mind. It takes over your inspiration, your potential, and your creativity, just to the point where you just don't do anything at all. Let me know if this is resonating. You're constantly telling yourself to shut up or get lost, and it doesn't work. I mean, you're practically yelling at yourself to get lost and shut up, and it seems to only work for a few seconds. The doubt is so loud that you can't move forward, that it pretty much keeps you stuck and paralyzed from even making a decision or posting or doing any of those things that move the needle forward in your business. And it's just to the point where now you fear those voices so much you just don't want to do anything. And you actually are starting to realize that you do things scared. So fear isn't really your problem. Like, you are more than willing to show up and do things scared. You're willing to step outside your comfort zone. You're willing to move the needle forward. But as soon as you get there, it's like your mind is going wild with this doubt. So let me know if this resonates. I would love to hear from you. Just drop a yes in the comments. Okay, so how do we start to deal with this? How do we start to slay this doubt? The number one step is to come into safety. I know that you guys hear me preach about this all the time, and it is just not going to stop. This is so important, and it's so important that I feel like it's even more critical than mindset. And I feel like it's more critical than mindset because you actually have trauma in the body. And if you do not feel safe, if you are not in your parasympathetic nervous system where you feel connected and safe, you actually cannot essentially heal. And this is why safety is so important. Okay. And how do you come into safety? What are the steps to coming into safety? You're going to heal your trauma and unlearn childhood conditioning. This is so important because this is why you feel unsafe to begin with. This is where all of your blocks come from, and this is where your doubt comes from as well. You're going to reset and rewire your nervous system. Again, this is taking you from the sympathetic nervous system. This is where you are in fight or flight. And then you're going to come into your parasympathetic nervous system where you are even further than rest and digest, where you are actually in connection and safety, which is super critical. This allows you to relax. This allows you to breathe. And this allows you to let go of the energies in your body that are actually keeping you stuck and in the sympathetic nervous system. And then you're going to do daily self-care for regulation. I know that there's so much out there on self-care, but self-care is just not about pretty things and pampering yourself. It is really about daily regulation so that you can actually respond to life rather than react on a regular basis. And if you notice that you are struggling with your emotions taking over your work and your life from day to day, this is how you actually know that, number one, you need a different self-care routine, but number two, you are not fully in your parasympathetic nervous system or feeling completely safe. So let me know, do you have any questions? Leave them in the comments. If you are watching this on the replay, please let me know your feedback, any experiences that you've had with safety or not feeling safe. I would love to hear them. Leave them in the comments. Okay, so before safety, okay, what is it like before safety? Before safety, your mind is always running, right? Overthinking to death. That's what I call it. Your voices in your mind are so loud, just so loud and obnoxious. Voices trigger guilt and shame for relaxing and receiving. I know that this resonates with you so much because there have been so many women in the group that have shared that they feel guilty for receiving. They feel guilty for allowing. So I know that that is actually a sign of not feeling safe and allowing yourself to receive. And before safety, you feel like no matter what you do, you cannot get ahead, right? It's like you're doing the mindset work and doing the mindset work and doing the mindset work, and it's just not enough. After safety, your mind is peaceful most of the time, because again, this is an ongoing journey. And if I sat here and told you that you were going to jump into one destination after resetting and rewiring your nervous system, I would be totally lying to you. And then the voices are signals that you welcome. So when you hear doubt, when you hear fear, when you hear guilt, when you hear shame, or any other voices that might be going on, like the judger or the inner critic, it actually becomes a signal that there's some healing that needs to happen, rather than it being like the enemy, right? And then you allow yourself to relax and receive without guilt or shame. Again, this is an ongoing process. This is a delayering process and, of course, a practice. If you're not practicing this on a regular basis, you are going to continuously feel shame and guilt. But this is also why it's so important to heal the mother wound, as I am learning. And I'm so excited to share those things with you. They're coming up, I promise. And you call in happiness and success, which actually attracts all your desires, all your happiness, all the money, and of course, your soulmate clients, which is essentially what we're after here. So self-awareness, we're going to talk about self-awareness because step number 2 to slaying doubt, because this is just as important. Safety is critical, and I put that first because it's an overall balancing that you've got to work on every day. But without self-awareness, you cannot actually make different decisions. So self-awareness is going to be critical for you here. So you're going to do daily journaling for clarity, connection, and safety. Remember, you are required to do the work. I'm here presenting this to you, but if you're not going to do the work, you already know that nothing happens. So it's so important for you to do the daily work. Step number 2 is to observe the triggers and the doubt. And so that means that you're really seeing things from a bird's eye view, from all the way up here, so that you can see what's going on right here. I hope you guys can see me. So you're like able to see it from all the way up here. Whereas if you don't observe your triggers, or you do see it from a state of judgment, you have tunnel vision. And we don't want tunnel vision because it blocks us from being able to see and connect the dots. So we want to be able to see from up here, because that leads us into step 3, that when we can see from the bird's eye view, we can start connecting the dots and understanding, you know, what triggers this doubt? Where does it come from? Oh, well, I'm actually sabotaging because I'm trying to escape my reality. And we connect the dots until to the point where we realize, oh my gosh, this is way coming from my childhood and not at all what I anticipated. And again, this is going to come in layers. So let me know if this is resonating. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, please leave them in the comments, even if you are watching the replay. Okay, self-awareness for my clients. When we are building self-awareness for the clients that I work with one-to-one, we do this through channeled journal prompts. Okay, so all the journal prompts that my clients receive, they are specific to them and their needs and their desires, and what, of course, I'm receiving from their energy. And then we go through Gene Keys, which is like a roadmap to shadow work, which is absolutely beautiful. Because again, as you know, if you don't face the shadows, you cannot heal everything. It's about bringing this to light. But there is a very specific way that I do this that just brings such phenomenal results. And then we tap into a human design just a little bit. And then, of course, guidance. I have this, I don't know, keen nature, if you will, to be able to see things and connect the dots so that you know where to look, so that you know where to start digging. And I do point my clients in that direction so that they can have the optimal breakthroughs. So we're not just fishing around waiting for you to find it. I help you go and look. And of course, with asking the right questions that are sometimes hard hitting, but also very necessary. This is how I create self-awareness for my clients. And really, it's co-creation. So let's go into step number 3. Again, let me know if you have any questions. Okay, step number 3 to slaying doubt is body connection. And this is where you're going to hold space for yourself and all of your emotions. This piece is so critical because if you don't know how to hold space for your ugly emotions, your nasty emotions, the ones that make you feel so heavy, you are also not going to be able to hold space for doubt. And it is because doubt has some nasty and shitty things to say to you. So if you are not able to hold space for all of your emotions, you are also not going to be able to hold space for doubt. So this is going to be very important. I help my clients with this. And it gets to the point where they're able to allow these emotions to cycle through their stress response within 90 seconds. Okay. It goes just like a big loop. It comes in, it goes out, and it leaves, right? So you want to be aware of that. Are you practicing that on a daily basis? Because if you're not practicing that on a daily basis, you're actually allowing the emotions to stay stuck in your body. And we don't want that at all, especially as you're working with clients. You want to be a clear channel as possible so that you're receiving the downloads and the guidance that you need to deliver them the best messages, especially as healers. You know, with body connection, you learn to know what hell yes and hell no is like in your body. This is so important so that you actually know what alignment feels like, what aligned step feels like, how to make the right decisions. All of that actually comes from your body and not your logical mind. I know that we want to believe that all of those decisions come from our cognition, but they don't. They actually come from our body. And when you work with human design, it actually helps you know when you are making the right decisions. So, and then you learn how to hear and listen to your bodies as signals. So when you are feeling off, you know that there's something going on. When you're overthinking, you know that there's an action that you need to take or that you didn't fully take, or you need to express your emotions. The same thing with anxiety. Anxiety is unexpressed emotions. And when you learn to express your emotions, that anxiety tends to dissipate. So what you do is you start to learn that even the pain in your body is actually signals and manifestations of something else going on, which I feel like I needed to hear that message right now. That is for me. Okay. So do you have any questions? Is this resonating? Let me know. Even if you are watching the replay, let me know. Body connection for my clients. How do we create this with my clients? So we do trauma release to bring you back into the present moment, right? Resetting and rewiring your nervous system. We do specific and potent meditations to bring you back to the present to help you heal. My meditations, you can ask any of my former clients or my previous clients that they absolutely love my meditations because they are so potent. They really create shifts immediately and they are so powerful, and I love creating them. And of course, we co-create a self-awareness to learn and understand and forgive your body. Learning to create that type of compassion and loving relationship with your body allows you to be connected to your body. And guidance to always listen and to do what's best for you. I never tell my clients what to do. I let them know if that feels right and aligned for you, then you do that. I give them guidance, like listening to the meditation at least 3 times. And then if you want to listen to it more, then you can listen to it more. If you don't get to it 3 times, then that's fine. But you want to do what's best for you. Always. And this is so important because it actually allows you to build self-trust, which is definitely slaying doubt. but it also allows you to trust your intuition and trust that you've got your own back and that you know how to make decisions, which is so critical for a thriving business and attracting soulmate clients. And then, of course, we work on developing safety. The reason why we struggle with being present in the moment and connected into our body is because the trauma actually existed while we were being present. And so what happens is we actually don't allow ourselves to be present in our body as a coping mechanism. So as we develop the safety and feeling like it's okay to be in our bodies, we connect more and more with our bodies. So this is how we co-create connection in my one-to-one programs. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm gonna get a drink of water. I'm also gonna get a drink of coffee. Okay. Holding space, we've barely touched on this, but we're going to actually dive into a little bit deeper. So step 4 to slaying doubt is holding space. And how do you hold space? Understanding that emotions really are just energy that are really meant to come in through your body and be released. It's because we've been conditioned that emotions are negative or bad, or we're not supposed to feel a certain way. And so when we do feel a certain way, we're shooting ourselves about feeling a certain way. And so we actually block that energy from releasing from our body, and then it gets stuck in there and trapped in there. Holding space is about feeling all of your emotions, and then if there are negative emotions, you release them within 90 seconds. Again, this is something that I help my clients with. Now, I am in no way suggesting that you only feel like joy or excitement or eagerness or hopefulness for 90 seconds. The more that you can feel those emotions and practice feeling those emotions, the more you're going to be able to feel them. Absolutely. But when you allow yourself to hold space for really heavy emotions like shame and guilt and sadness and grief, it actually opens you up to receive and feel more joy. And this is going to be so important when you show up bigger, badder, and bolder online, and as well as attracting soulmate clients, because you are calling in that energy, right? You're magnetizing them to you, because when you feel joy, when you feel excitement, you also feel worthy and deserving, like you don't have to control anything. And that's when you start to magnetize the right people to you. So this is just a testimonial from a previous client. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, I always put like previous client, former client, queen A, queen B. I actually do those things to protect the privacy of my clients. And I do that because, I feel like we touch on such sensitive topics that it is important for me to not dish out the name. And it actually helps me create more testimonials and receive more reviews and feedback when I do things without pictures and without names, creating that safety. But also they're giving to me by helping me build my business so that I can show social proof. And so that's how we kind of create an understanding and a place of safety by doing this. And so this is a former client where I helped her stop avoiding her emotions, get connected into her body, and so that she could end self-sabotage, right? Which is essentially avoiding your emotions, like she's mentioned, and just really coming back into the present moment and being able to be fully and completely who she is, so that she can show up bigger, badder, and bolder online, so that she can attract soulmate clients as she desires, over just letting go of coping by avoiding and being connected to her body and facing her emotions. So let me know if you're with me. Let me know if this is resonating. Again, if you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay. Ask any questions. Let me know if it's resonating. Leave the comments. Again, I'm traveling all day today, so I've got so much time to get to your comments. Okay, so step number 5, we're going to identify the doubt in step number 5. It is important for you to understand that as soon as you hear the doubt, it is about identification, not telling yourself to shut up or get lost. Because when you tell yourself to shut up and get lost, it's not actually working. In fact, it only imprints the rejection and abandonment wounds that you may be struggling with further. And how do you know if you're struggling with abandonment or rejection wounds? If you struggle with asking for the sale, if you struggle with asking for help, and if you struggle with allowing people to get close to you and build relationships with you, that's how you know you actually struggle with the abandonment and rejection wound. So, and that's a huge one for people that are running a business, right? All of you healers and coaches that are running a business, if you're afraid to ask for the sale out of rejection and abandonment, this is how you know that it's very important for you to start digging at this. And even though we do work with this, absolutely, and to my one-to-one program, but in my self-sabotage slayer course, there's a whole module where we dive deep into this, where I had clients really having major breakthroughs around healing their abandonment and rejection wound, and it's just so critical to do this, just as a side note. So what are the steps to identify the doubt? What does your doubt sound like? So it's really, who does your doubt sound like? But who does it sound like? And it's usually going to be a caregiver, someone that you were very close with as a child. And this is important to identify because this is going to help you understand that this doubt is not actually yours. And then what is this doubt telling you? Now, this is why it is so important for you to be able to hold space for yourself. Because if you cannot hold space for yourself, you cannot hold space for your doubt. Because I promise you, your doubt, it has some nasty and shitty things to say to you. And I know because obviously I've experienced this. And so have my clients. Okay. They tell me all the time, like, this is so hard to listen to sometimes. And you're right. It absolutely is. But this is why the practice of holding your space for yourself is so critical to being able to slay doubt. So what triggers the voices in your head? So is it posting based on inspiration? Is it, asking for the sale? Is it raising your prices? Is it saying that you can heal people and change their lives? What triggers the voices? This is going to be very important for you to be able to identify, to go back to being able to connect the dots. Like I mentioned, if you're on, say, hey, let me know that you're here. Remember that the replay, it will be up. I'm not going to take this down out of the group, I think, ever at this point in time, but you definitely, this has been such juicy and good content, but just say, hey, get ready to watch the replay. We're getting into the third step of identifying doubt. And who is this doubt? How old is this doubt? Okay, so again, how old is this doubt? You can ask it like, what's its name? How old are you? What do you like to do to have fun? This just really helps you get to know your doubt and not just making it all about the nasty and shitty things it has to say. When you kind of let the pressure go of hearing that, it actually makes it so much easier for you to develop this relationship with doubt. And I know that that sounds batshit crazy, but in order for you to be able to integrate this, which we're going to get into, you want to make sure that you are building a bridge, essentially, right? Let's say that your doubt is here and the doubt is keeping you from being able to have this thriving business, okay? If the thriving business is here, I hope you can see me. If your thriving business is here, you need to build that bridge, okay? And building that bridge is this, my arm, so that the doubt can walk across here so you can integrate it so that you can have a thriving business. That is essentially what it is that we're after. Hey Flo, how are you? Thank you for jumping on. I'm so excited to have you here. So again, this is how we identify the doubt. Let me know if this is resonating. Let me know if this is making sense to you. Let me get another drink. Okay. Oh, this picture isn't showing up, but these are just some reviews from my clients giving me social feedback on, how they've been able to slay doubt, how the meditations have been helping them so much, and the journal prompts as well. Yeah, most definitely makes sense. Okay, perfect. I'm glad to hear that. I wish that picture was gone, but you are not gone, but what can you do? Okay, so step 6, we're going to lean into the doubt. Again, this is the hardest part. The hardest part is being able to listen to all of the nasty things that your doubt has to tell you. And this is the hardest part because really we would rather not know what our doubt has to say to us. There have been times where my doubt has told me things like, you're a shitty person. Like, you don't deserve any of this. You're unworthy. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're saying. You're ridiculous. Just go back to your day job. Why are you doing this to yourself? Like, just so much. And I remember, and I do this through journaling, and that's how I help my clients walk through this. And I just remember there have been so many times when I first started doing this with leaning into my doubt, which is probably about, I don't know, probably 1 to 2 years ago. When I first started, I'd just be in there just bawling about all of the things that my doubt had to say to me. And it does get easier. I'm not trying to scare you off from doing this work, but I do want to be honest with you. Like, this is not an easy process. And this is why it's so much better to have someone in your corner that's letting you know, like, I know that your doubt is telling you this, but it's not really your doubt. It's conditioned beliefs. You are worthy. You are deserving. Look at all of these things that you've done. But this work, it's not easy. It is not easy at all. And this is why it's so much better to do it with someone. Okay. First, what is your doubt telling you? You're going to ask it. What do you have to tell me today? And you're just going to listen. What does it want from you? Okay, this one is going to be super important because a lot of us automatically think like, oh, our doubt just wants us to stop doing what we're doing. And that's actually not true. That's just like a protective mechanism that it's keeping you from getting to the root cause, from getting to the point where you need to know. The truth is that your doubt truly needs something from you. It's probably love. It's probably connection. It's probably safety. It's probably listening, holding space. Stop telling me to shut up or get lost, right? That piece of it is going to be so important. It's just telling you to stop doing what it is that you're doing. It's because you have not held space enough. You have not really built that bridge for it to integrate. And this is what we're doing right here by leaning into the doubt, is building that bridge. But it is going to be so critical for you to know when, I don't want to say when you're not doing this right because it's a practice, but when it's not, the relationship is not quite there. So, but it is going to be critical for you to ask, okay, what is it that you need from me? What is it that you want from me? And the answers are going to be unbelievable, I promise. And the last step on leaning into your doubt is, how can you give this to yourself in a very healthy way? So maybe it is connection, right? So maybe your doubt is like, I really need connection. That's why I'm always doubting you. There's loneliness going on. I feel like we don't have anybody. Okay, well, what can we do to build connection? Networking events, meetups, creating friendships, online communities. Like, what can we do to really start building the connection? Even working with a coach. Like, I know like with my previous clients, I don't feel like they're previous clients. Like, I feel like they're friends now. Like, I send them memes, I say silly things to them. Like, I really do feel like we're friends with my previous clients. And I love it so much. So even working with a coach gives you that connection. Yes, you're investing for that connection, but sometimes it's so worth it, and it's exactly what it is that you need. Okay, so let me know if this is resonating. Let me know if this is resonating with you. If you have any questions about leaning into your doubt, go ahead and leave them now. I'm going to give you some time to do that. My voice is starting to get kind of dry. Yeah, the first connection I have where I can, yep, where I can be me. Yes, absolutely. And that is so important. Eh, And thank you for bringing that up, actually, Flo, that, in your connections, you do want to make sure that you feel like it's safe for you to be all of you, not a certain version of you, not the one that's always happy, not the one that's just sad or bitching and complaining. No, no, no. All of you. That's why when you guys come into this group, as into this sacred container that I've built, I know so many people are like, I want to keep the energy high in here. I want it to be good vibes only. I get that. Like, and I want the energy to be high in here too, where we are focused on solutions. But the truth is that there are going to be days where you have, where you do struggle with doubt. There are going to be days where you do struggle with fear. And what are we supposed to do? Pretend that you're not struggling with those things? I don't think so. That's not how those work. That's not how that works. Like, that's totally bypassing. And that, me as a healer, as a leader, is essentially telling you to turn that shit off. And what kind of person am I, or what kind of healer am I, if I'm telling you that and not allowing it in the group? Now, do I want you to be the victim and stay in that space? Absolutely not. But I am going to hold space for you being in that situation and being in that energy, because one of the most important things that we can do for our communities and our friends and our clients especially is to hold space for them, is to meet them where they're at, and not try to fix them or cheer them up or convince them that, well, it could be a lot worse, or you are more fortunate than me. And I'm going to talk about this. So I watched part of that Bridgerton, that new Bridgerton Netflix show that's out. And the one lady was mourning the loss of her husband. And then the one other lady was telling her how fortunate she is to have loved like that. And it's like, yeah, that's absolutely true that she had that beautiful love and she got to experience that in her lifetime. But if we're telling people that they are fortunate while they're grieving and mourning, we are literally telling them that their feelings are not valid. We are literally rejecting people and abandoning people and telling them that they need to do that in order for them to be our friends or to be in this space or be, to be our clients. And that's absolutely not okay. That is just imprinting and keeping those cycles stuck. That's exactly what's wrong with our society, is that we don't know how to hold space for people because it makes us uncomfortable, and we think that people shouldn't feel a certain way because we might have had it worse than them. So ridiculous. Okay, thank you for always creating a safe space. You're welcome. That is like one of my main goals of the group. Always, even when you work with me one-to-one, even when you're leaving me messages, like I always ask permission to share your messages and things like that. Like I always do those things. I watched that whole series and so much trauma in that show. Like, wow, our ancestors really went through it. Yeah, that's so true. And sometimes it's so hard to watch these shows because other people do not see it as trauma. They see it as like, oh, this is normal. And I'm like, it's not, it's trauma. Okay, let's get into integrating the doubt. What is essentially integrating the doubt? This is becoming one with. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to doubt's going to take over your life. What it means is that because you have held space, because you have built that bridge for your doubt, you become one with. And what that means is that doubt actually transmutes into exactly what you need it to be, the inspiration, the peace, the momentum. It becomes that. Okay, doubt is ultimately just a signal of healing that needs to happen, right? And so what happens is as you build that bridge, you integrate the doubt, which means that you no longer struggle with doubt. Now, does that mean that doubt is going to pop up? Of course not. It means that you just know how to handle it, and because you have the tools and resources to do that. So here are the steps to integrate doubt. you're going to come into unconditional acceptance, okay? So that means that no matter what it has to say to you, no matter what it wants from you, you are not going to judge it. You are going to accept it. You're going to hear it, understand it, see it. And that's going to be so important because those were actually the needs that you needed as a child. And so because you are giving those needs to this doubt, it's the peace is going to come in so much quicker than just trying to tell it shut up or ignore it. And then you're going to hold space for this doubt. Again, you are going to listen to all of the BS that it has to say. And I say BS because it is BS, okay? It is BS. Doesn't mean that it won't trigger you. Doesn't mean that it won't make you cry. Doesn't mean that it won't feel real. It absolutely will, but you're holding space, which means that you are doing this and allowing it to be seen and heard without judgment. And then the last step to integrate the doubt is you're going to show yourself love and compassion for yourself, because what you start to learn is, again, that this doubt is not yours and that it's been conditioned into you, and it's actually coming up because you need some love and compassion and forgiveness from yourself. And this is how you integrate the doubt. And this is how you slay doubt. So do we have any questions on the integration part of it? I'm going to give you a second here. Okay, we are running on perfect time. I am so excited to deliver this masterclass for you because I know so many people that are struggling with doubt. So I'm super excited to get this out here, not only in the group so that it helps you show up bigger, badder, and bolder and skyrockets your authenticity and confidence, but I'm super excited to share my Slay program with you. This is some of my client results all there. I love sharing these with you. I love seeing them. When I'm having a bad day, I actually scroll through the testimonials to remember to like remind me, yeah, you're a badass. Like, you know what you're doing. You don't have to act like you don't know what you're doing. And so it really does help me. Like kind of put myself back out there and remember, like, even when there's crickets, even when things are not going perfect, I have all of this love and I've helped so many people. All right, so now we're going to get into the Slay program. And this is an invitation to slay. Again, there is no obligation to further invest. I hope that you found value in this masterclass. Again, all of my masterclasses are going to give you so much value. I am not one of those people where we're going to spend 3 hours pitching and you get nothing out of it. I hate that, just hate that. So I refuse to do it. So this is an invitation to slay. This is for you if you want to slay doubt, if you want to create peace and silence in your mind, if you want to release resistance and hesitation, if you want to show up and share your magic with the world, if you want to make an impact, if you're willing to do the work, and if you want to feel worthy and deserving of success and happiness, and if you want to completely, deeply love, accept yourself. So let me know if this is sounding really good for you. So I want you to imagine feeling in complete alignment with your work. When you post, sell, or step outside your comfort zone, there's silence in your mind and support in your heart. That means there's no more doubt, and you actually feel excited and ready to step outside of your comfort zone so that you can attract soulmate clients, so that you can attract desires. And what this means is that when you go to step outside your comfort zone and you feel that fear, you know that you have that doubt, you know that you are in the exact right direction that you are meant to be in. So I want you to imagine feeling excited and eager to share your gifts and your magic with the world. You show up authentically and confidently. You know deep down inside that this is your calling. You're totally and completely anchored into your service. As long as you can just help one person, that's all that matters. Even when things aren't going well or money's not flowing in, you are totally and completely focused on creating that impact because that's what matters to you. And you love taking up space and showing the world who you are. This means that you feel totally and completely safe as all of you online, even if you make mistakes, even when you're learning, right? Like at the beginning of this, I said that, I've never done this before, so bear with me. I've had to figure this out on the fly. You're completely okay with doing those things in front of your audience. No worries, no hesitation. It is what it is. You feel so good about doing those things. You wake up in the morning. I want you to imagine you wake up in the morning to paid invoices, notifications for potential clients to work with. That's exactly what you want. That's why you're here making an impact and sharing your gifts to the world. The truth is that you can make more of an impact and make more changes in the world when you are getting paid over and over again and making that revenue and making that income. And I want you to imagine feeling so worthy and deserving of success and happiness that all of you desire, that you never sabotage your progress or your success ever again. That means that you don't have to worry about the fear of failure, the fear of success, or worrying that you're going to mess this up again, which was a deep fear for me. So let me know if this sounds like you. Give me a yes in the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, let me know if this is resonating for you and this is something that you want. So if you want these things and if this is resonating for you, then Slay is for you. You go from doubting to trusting. You go from hesitating and waiting to living and loving your life and your business. You go from invisible to visible, taking up space and sharing your magic with the world. And you go from sabotaging to worthy and deserving in just 12 weeks. What we do is we go in through my 3-step signature framework that have changed my clients' lives forever. And in this 12-week program, we actually dive deeper into this that I'm super excited about. I use a lethal combination of channeled journal prompts and guided meditations to reset and rewire your nervous system to create safety, awareness, and full presence in your everyday life so that you can let go of the need to control and allow yourself to flow and receive and take aligned action. I use energy healing and timeline therapy to release sabotage and feel worthy and deserving. Wouldn't it feel so amazing to feel worthy and deserving of everything that you desire, to know that you deserve to have a thriving business and making so much money you never have to worry about how bills are going to be paid again? Yes, please sign me up. Okay, so this is what's included. It's 12 weeks of 60 to 90-minute telecalls. So it's actually through Google Meet. That's how I do that. Exclusive access to me through Messenger, channeled journal prompts, channeled and potent guided meditation, an exclusive community to receive support. And in that community, you're actually allowed to take over the group, which is awesome. So again, this is just some of my testimonials from my clients and how we build self-awareness through journaling, gene keys, human design, and guidance. We create body connection through trauma release, specific meditations, self-awareness so you can be connected to your body, and guidance for you to come back home to yourself and developing safety. And more client testimonials. My clients have gone from doubting themselves to feeling completely trusting, from feeling uncertain about sharing their spiritual gifts to fully showing up online. It's been absolutely amazing and such a blessing to experience just from my end. And we co-create these results, right? I do the guidance and you are doing the work. So let me know if this is resonating, if you're loving this. Again, more client testimonials, more client love. So here's the 12-week Slay experience. Who is this for? This is for you if you are ready and committed to the work. You want to feel worthy and deserving of happiness and success. You want to share your magic with the world. You want to attract clients and opportunities. You want to show up bigger, badder, and bolder. You want to feel confident, authentic when you show up. This is for women, healers, solo coaches, trauma coaches. What's included? Life-changing and life-lasting results, transformations, and breakthroughs immediately. Guidance and love and a little ass kicking. And of course, 12 weeks of calls, journal prompts that you get to keep forever. Guided meditations that you get to keep forever. Exclusive access to me and this supportive community. There's a payment plan available, and normally the price is $4,500, but today it is $3,500 with a payment plan available. Let me know if you are super excited about this, if this is resonating and you feel like this is the solution for you. So today we talked about today we talked about how to build connection with yourself, how to slay doubt. I totally just realized that this was not updated at all. Oh, well, mistakes are made, but we talked about safety. We talked about holding space for yourself. We talked about body connection. We talked about leaning into the doubt. We talked about identifying the doubt and, of course, integration. And, of course, the invitation to slay. So if you are really struggling with doubt, even still after this masterclass, I invite you to reach out to me if you have any questions about the Slay program. If you're ready to slay sabotage and doubt and step into the most worthy and deserving version of you, then let me know in the comments or reach out to me in Messenger. If you're ready to invest now, message me or say me in the comments, even if you're watching the replay. Isn't it time that you received all that you deserved by sharing your magic and helping people? Be sure to message me if you have any comments, or be sure to message me if you have any questions, or if you're ready to work with me now, feel free to comment me or reach out to me in Messenger. I will be available for you. So this is what I have for you. Thank you so much for being here. I love and appreciate you. I hope that you guys have a great day, and I will see you all later. Again, if you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.